Hey, everybody. We're back with you on this podcast. It is the month of July, and obviously you know it's the month of July because you have just celebrated, just like we have, the 4th of July. And John, 4th of July, that's always a fun holiday.
Yeah, it's genuinely one of my favorite holidays. I love to celebrate 4th of July. Yeah. This one's been unique because you and I have been running hard the last few weeks.
Last couple of weeks, we've been on the road.
Yeah, and a unique 4th of July for us. But we were in North Africa.
Yep. Not
for 4th of July, but before that, North Africa.
In a couple countries there. And actually, North Africa, folks, like if you're really on the top of North Africa, you're right there on the Mediterranean. And it's absolutely beautiful. The countries are beautiful there. They speak multiple languages. A lot of them speak French. And so it's got just an amazing culture and a really cool part of the world to visit. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Beautiful. And then 4th of July, actually in Florida. We were there for a work-related event that happened to be in Florida and happened to overlap with 4th of July. And so that's where we celebrated.
Yeah. So 4th of July, like, man, cookouts, sometimes some good watermelon, family and friends, fireworks. It's a great day to just let down, let go, relax, leisure, and be refreshed. So, 4th of July.
You know what I never saw coming?
What did you not see coming?
In fatherhood, I have a toddler, for those that have forgotten. And with a toddler, you learn to hate fireworks.
Why is that?
Because they wake your kid up.
Oh.
People are shooting fireworks till like 2 a.m, and you have a toddler that's trying to sleep, and you're just holding your breath every time there's a giant boom. Like, please don't wake up. Please don't wake up.
Well, hang in there because one day that'll be the highlight of his
I know.
It's going to happen.
But this particular season,
you're right.
I've grown to hate fireworks.
Yeah. Anyway, I've always loved fireworks. But anyway, it's a great holiday, and it's something to celebrate our freedom. And by the way, folks, when you think of globally what's happening and the tensions in places and the lack of freedom that people have, we have a lot of reason to be thankful and to celebrate. Anyway, we're back here on our podcast, Think Global. And on Think Global, we like to say that the world is our home, where strangers become friends and friends become family. And that is going to become visibly true globally here in the month of July.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
On July the 26th.
Does everybody know what we're talking about?
The Olympics.
The Olympics.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. And I always love the Olympics. It comes, once every 4 years, at least the Summer Olympics. And so it's really exciting. I do love it. I love every part of it. I often spend way too much time watching it on TV, but it is just absolutely like energizing to me. I love it.
It's really fun. So we're going to do an episode on sports and how it brings people together, particularly around the Olympics. And so hang in with us. I imagine people are like, oh, sports, they're going to do it like a sports radio podcast episode. We're not. It's not about that. So if you're not a sports ball person, those people who are like, I hate sports ball.
Yeah. All right.
It's okay. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about, it's not just about sports in particular, but just about how sports brings us together as a world, particularly during the time of the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I too love the Olympics.
Yeah. So, and here in just a moment, you're going to talk about a little bit about the history of the Olympics, because there's some factoids that people are not aware of and probably should be aware of.
Yeah.
And so you're going to talk about the history here in a second.
Okay.
But I just want to say this, like when you say like, it feels like a waste of time, but as we have traveled and as I travel, one of the things you do see is you see a lot of people either out playing basketball in like on a clay court, a dirt field, ragged backboards and nets, or you see people out like they're choosing up sides and they're playing soccer or football as they call it. And just recently, I was on a trip in Central Asia in a place like that's fairly restricted. And interestingly, on their day off, which is Friday in that country, there it was again. They were playing some form of a combination of badminton and volleyball. I didn't quite understand it, but they were laughing, they were playing, and then picnicking. And so sports, in a sense, does bring people together. And actually, that's what we see in the Olympics. So a little bit about the history of the Olympics. I think that'd be fun to start with.
Yeah. And then we'll get into some more. So I didn't know. I learned a lot of things in our research for this episode.
Yes.
And so one thing I think I should have known this, but I didn't. The 5 Olympic rings represent the 5 major regions of the world. So when you see those rings in the logo and on the stadiums and all that, just keep that in mind. It represents Europe, Asia, the Americas, Africa, and Oceania.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Did not know that.
Pretty much every region of the world.
Also, the original Olympics, in Olympia, Greece, ran from 776 BC through 392 AD.
Right.
That's a long time. So
it's a long time, and it's kind of cool when you think about it, like 776 BC.
So if we still divide time based on the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, did he go to the Olympics, you think?
I don't think so.
I don't
know.
I don't know.
I have no clue.
We're going to find out one day.
Well,
I just thought about that when I saw this. Like, that's kind of cool.
Hey, you know what? That's not deep, but that's interesting.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. Have to be deep to be interesting.
And then it ended at that time, 392 AD. It ended.
Yeah, it ended. It took 1,500 years to reboot the Olympics, and then it kind of made a rebound in 1896 in Athens.
Yes.
So that's when the Olympics as we sort of know it really rebooted was 1896 in Athens.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
I've got an answer to your question.
Okay.
I think Jesus mostly stayed in the Promised Land.
That's true.
Yeah, so there you go. We'll answer that question for all of our people out there. However,
do you think he watched it on TV?
I don't know about that, but when Paul writes, he writes based on those themes.
Yeah, so
which is really cool. Like he uses a lot of,
the point is
the sport metaphor.
The Olympics was happening during that time period.
Exactly right.
Let's just say that.
That's a big deal.
Okay, that's really cool. And also, you were just talking about how you look forward to the Olympics because every 4 years. I love the fact that now it's every 2 years.
Yes.
Winter, then summer. Winter, then summer. And that didn't start until 1994.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I guess I vaguely remember a time. I'm not that old, but I vaguely remember a time when it was every 4 years. But that's pretty cool. So now we have winter every it's every 4 years. But anyway, they alternate winter and summer Olympics. So that gives us always something to look forward to.
Yeah. And 2 other factoids. Okay. This will be the third time Paris has hosted the Summer Olympics, which is a big deal. Only one other city has done that, London.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. One last factoid. I love this, actually. There will be, in Paris, over 10,000 athletes from 206 places around the world.
That's so cool.
That is amazing. So that's a big deal.
That's
so a
really
lot of people
cool.
coming together, being with each other and competing. And that's what we get to watch and participate in via technology. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to share at the end one of my biggest regrets in life.
Okay.
I'm going to save it for the end. It's like a teaser for the end.
All right.
Anyway, what do you want to go to next?
Okay. So here's what I was going to say. There is a great quote, as we think about the Olympics, by a gentleman by the name of Eric Kazimov. And here's what he says. It's just a portion of a quote, but he says, sports are not important. They can't cure a disease or bring peace to the Middle East. They can't resolve environmental disasters. Some people call sports a waste of time, but sometimes wasting time is fun. It's relaxing to be able to just talk about nothing, to let the pressure go for a little while. And that's kind of what the Olympics, really, really does for us. It takes away the tensions that we see and experience, and it brings the world together for that moment. And then he goes on to say, sports matter because they don't matter. They're an interest anyone can have in common, no matter who they are or what they do or what they care about in real life. And so that's kind of what sports does for us. And globally, actually, that's the sense you get when you travel, that there's something about sports, even though you don't know the language of the other person, you can compete on a basketball court, no matter how shabby it is. You can compete on a basketball court with someone you can't even communicate with, but you communicate through participation, which is really a cool thing.
I love the idea that competition is such a common human trait.
Yeah.
Like we can all rally around the idea of competition, or we can all, I think there's a commonality of rooting for the underdog even. And I love that. And it does, it transcends language. It
Right.
transcends culture. It even transcends geopolitics.
Right.
You see in a lot of war-torn areas, young boys still out playing soccer in destroyed parking lots or blown up streets, and it gives that escape for people. And there's a lot of research around the healthy attributes of play.
Yeah.
And how we need that in our lives, not just as kids,
Right.
but even as adults, to allow yourself to slip into play.
Right.
Because it is inconsequential, just like that quote you
Right.
wrote. Like, it isn't important.
Right.
And that's what's actually important about it,
Right.
is that it's not important.
That's right. It gives us a space to just relax and enjoy, and maybe just walk through a tough time in the middle of enjoying something.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the favorite parts of I love all of the Olympics, but I really love the opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's over the top, and they really want to be creative. They want to outdo the previous opening ceremonies. Well, really, one of the things I love about the opening ceremonies is when all the athletes walk in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so here's what I love. I love how each country has designed their uniforms, their outfits, kind of to reflect their country.
Yeah.
And I love the diversity of what you see and the rituals of what you see. And one of the things I really love and appreciate, and it seems strange, but when a country is represented by maybe 8 athletes, and it gives you a picture of that country in that way. Like, they're a lot of, they couldn't qualify for a lot. And they live in a place where they don't have a lot of different kinds of sports. They can do 1 or 2 things really well, and they're there. And I love that because I love the underdog. I love cheering for those who are not expected to win. And when you see that, it's like, yes, that country is represented by 8 people. That's their contingent, but it's an awesome sight to see. So I love the diversity of that. And really, when you see that final display of all the people from around the world, that's our world. It's the diversity of our world, and it's something very, very, very beautiful, I think, to observe. So that's kind of what I love.
Yeah, I love that. And you think about those athletes, those, what was it, 10,000 athletes that are going to be there. Like, imagine their world, where, and I know they compete with some of these people in other competitions throughout the year or whatever, but the Olympics really brings everybody together in that idea of where the world's our home and strangers become friends.
Right.
Like, now you got friends from all over the world, literally, because your commonality is that you're an athlete in some sport, and back to that quote, like, that's really inconsequential at the end of the day.
Right.
But the fact that it brought you together with somebody that you never would have come together with before, like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And I think that's what, to walk away from the Olympics, I think it's just a good reminder. Yeah, there were some, world records broken.
Yeah.
We will see amazing feats of human physicality of, like, man, it's amazing that person could do that. We'll be impressed with great scenes of victory, and we'll also be impressed with those who gave it their best and lost, and that's something to cheer for. But at the end of the day, it's just like this amazing picture of who this world is made up of, and that's a good thing for us.
What you always see too in the Olympics is I like observing this, is like shows of sportsmanship between athletes. Yeah. And I always wonder, like, you see them like chatting or patting them on the back or shaking their hand or whatever it might be. Like, what are they saying to each other?
Right.
It's unlikely they're sharing the same language. Maybe English is a common language for them, and maybe they do share some words in English. But you got to imagine, for most of those interactions, it's their language and their language.
Right.
But somehow the competitive nature of what they're doing and the commonality of, hey, we're both athletes in this, we're both in this together, they can show sportsmanship that transcends those boundaries. Yeah.
So I guess what we're saying, John, is the Olympics are coming, and it's going to be a big deal. Yeah. And we're going to have a lot of fun watching, and we'll probably spend way too much time on TV.
Probably.
Which is okay. And we're going to be, virtually, we're going to be participating in this global event. But I think there's something practical about this. And that's actually, folks, where we're going with this, not just to talk about the Olympics, but rather it's an opportunity for us to see that the world is bigger than our zip code. Yeah. Like, it is bigger than the little town or the big city that I live in. The world is bigger than this nation. And that's a good thing for us to be reminded of. And I would say to families out there, like, here's a great opportunity to sit there and watch some competition with your family, your children, and pick out about 5 or 10 different countries that they've never, ever heard of. And Google it, look it up, talk about that country, expose your kids to another country they've never heard of before.
Yeah.
What a way to take them beyond the zip code of where they live, the hometown where they live, to someplace globally, and to learn about their culture and their language and the foods that they like and enjoy and the hardships they go through and what they go without and what they lack that we have so much of. I think it's a great time to just discover more of our world.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think another practical implication too, like beyond the Olympics, if you find yourself cross-cultural, or for the people that we work with that live cross-culturally, it's super easy inroad is to go play sports with people.
Yeah.
Like when I lived in China a million years ago, that's exactly what I did. There's these basketball courts. Just walk out there
Right.
and play a game.
Right.
And again, language didn't matter. It was the commonality of competition and skills.
Yep.
And I made a lot of friends that way.
That's right.
In the same way, you'd see people playing badminton, on the side of an apartment building.
Right.
And easily they would invite you in to play. Or
Right.
I played in a ping pong tournament where nobody spoke English but me,
Right.
but it didn't matter. I didn't need English
Yep.
to play in this ping pong tournament. So anyway, if you're looking for a way to build friendships and wondering how, sports is an easy
That's right.
way.
It's a bridge.
It's a bridge. Just walk out on the soccer pitch, walk out on the basketball court. You'll find yourself engulfed in the competition, and it won't matter about language and culture and all those things.
Yeah.
And you'll build friendships.
That's very true, and that's good advice. Hey, so what's your regret? I'm curious.
Okay, biggest regret. Years ago, probably 20 of them, 20, 25 years ago, I had a really good friend, and we made this vow. We tried to, of let's, no matter what or where it is, or let's go to every Summer Olympics every 4 years.
Okay.
And you don't have to go to the whole thing.
Right.
Show up for 3-4 days, go to a couple of events, and go home.
Yeah.
But it's 4 years.
Right.
You got 4 years to save up for it. You got 4 years to get a hall pass from your spouse. You got 4 years to get the tickets. You got 4 years to plan for it.
Right.
Because you know where it's going to be.
Right.
We never did it. Never went to a single one. But imagine how cool that would be if every 4 years you're like, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to Tokyo.
That's awesome.
I'm going to Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. I regret not doing it.
That's a dream. Hey, you know what? It reminds me of a podcast we recently did where they said, think of the story of your life and start writing that story. So maybe it inspires some dreams out there.
Yeah.
And, maybe this is a month to rethink the story of our lives and how we're going to write it and get to the business of doing it. Anyway, July, folks, it's a big deal. We celebrate the 4th of July and all the freedoms that we have. At the end of this July, there's the Paris Olympics, bringing the world together around the theme of sports and competition. Just a lot of enjoying of life during the month of July. People taking vacations, just a lot of things going on. So we hope that you do enjoy it. We hope that in your exposure to the world, that you learn something, take advantage of it, teach your kids about places they've never heard of before and probably will never travel to. It is a great time of the year, so enjoy it. And again, this is Think Global, where we like to say the world is our home, where strangers become friends and friends become family. We will be back with you guys again in August. Until then, enjoy your day, your week, your month as much as you can.